You know, every single time you use an app, you're interacting with this hidden world. We're about to pull back the curtain on that world, the backend. It's the powerful, invisible engine that makes pretty much everything work. And this right here, this is your blueprint for understanding it.
I mean, think about it for a second. You type out a message, you hit send, and poof, it just shows up on your friend's screen, who could be halfway across the world. But what really happens in that split second? Where does that message actually go, and how on earth does it get there so fast?
Well, the secret to all that everyday magic? It's buried deep beneath what you can see. It all starts with the backend, the part of the system you never see. It's the hidden machinery that's doing all the heavy lifting to make sure your message or your photo or your order gets exactly where it needs to go.
So to really get the backend, you've got to meet the two main characters in this whole story, because every single thing you do online is basically a conversation, a constant dialogue between these two players, a client and a server.
Let's start with the server. Now, don't let the word intimidate you. A server is really just a powerful computer that's always on, always waiting. Its entire job is to store things, like websites, user data, you name it, and serve them up when something asks. Think of it like a super efficient librarian just waiting for you to come up and request a book.
And if the server is our librarian, then the client is you, using your phone or your laptop or your web browser. The client makes the request, and the server provides the answer. It's this constant back-and-forth dance, this super simple rhythm of ask and receive that literally powers the entire web.
Okay, so how do you actually build one of these servers? Well, the good news is you don't have to start from total scratch. Modern developers have this incredible toolkit that makes the job so much easier. Let's pop it open and see what's inside.
First up is node.js. And the best way to picture this is like a digital workshop. See, for ages, the JavaScript language was kind of stuck, trapped inside your web browser. But Node.js, it blew the doors open. It created this workshop where developers could finally run JavaScript on the server side of things. I mean, this was a total game changer.
Now, if Node.js is the workshop, then Express is your high-tech set of power tools inside that workshop. It's what we call a framework. Basically, it just gives you a ton of shortcuts and pre-built structures so you're not constantly reinventing the wheel. It helps you organize your code and build applications way faster.
Okay, so we have our client, we have our server, and we have the tools to build it. But how do they actually talk to each other? We need to set some ground rules, agree on the language they're going to speak.
That communication happens through something called an API, or Application Programming Interface. The best analogy ever for this is a restaurant menu. Seriously, the menu tells you exactly what you can order and how you need to ask for it, right? You can't just yell food at the kitchen. You have to order the burger, medium rare. An API is the exact same thing, but for software.
And if the API is the menu, then REST is basically the grammar you use to place your order. It's a set of really common conventions for how to structure your requests. Using REST just means everyone's following the same rules, so when the client asks for something, the server gets it right away. No confusion. It makes everything super predictable and efficient.
All right, let's see this in action with what's called a GET request. And just like it sounds, its job is to get information. That's it. Your browser sends a little message that says, hey, get me the latest user comments. The server sees that, finds the comments, and sends them right back. So simple.
But what if you want to add something new? You're not just reading, you're creating. That's where a post request comes in. You're posting new data. The client says, please post this new photo to my profile. The server catches it, saves it, and sends back a little confirmation, like, got it, success. It's the big difference between reading information and creating something brand new.
All right, let's pull all these pieces together. We've met all the key players, we've learned the language they speak. Now let's look at the complete blueprint for how this whole system works, from start to finish.
And here it is, the whole shebang in one neat package. Your client, that's your phone, makes a request. It travels over to a server, which we built in our Node.js workshop using our Express toolkit. That request is perfectly structured. It follows the rules of the API using REST conventions like GET or POST. The server does its thing and sends a response all the way back. And that whole round trip, it happens in the blink of an eye.
And just like that, by understanding that simple flow, you've basically grasped the very core of backend development. These aren't just buzzwords anymore. They are the actual ingredients for a real working application. You now have the fundamental knowledge to design a simple server that can handle both retrieving and creating data. That's huge.
So that's the blueprint.
The invisible architecture that powers so much of our digital lives, well, it's not so invisible to you anymore. The fundamental concepts are no longer a mystery. So the only real question left is, now that you have the blueprint, what are you going to build?